All right, all right, all right. It is time. It is time for my award show, the Federal Roses Award Show, end of year NFL awards, the award show every player in the NFL wants to be on, and the award show that every team wants to be on, and the award show your mom wants to be on as well one day. Before I go down my list of my awards and who gets what, on your screen right now should be a picture that I found through scrolling through my YouTube feed that perfectly encapsulates this NFL season. So let me read this. For the first time since seeding began in 1975, no quarterback from the top two seeds in each conference has ever won a playoff game in their career. So if you thought this season was a little bit crazy, a little bit wacky, not like the rest, this picture right here perfectly summarizes that belief. So I just want to start off by saying that. And some of the award winners from this list are going to reflect that as well. You will see that it's like, what the fuck? How is that team? But trust me, it was a weird season. So let's start with the NFC. We're going to start with the best division in the NFC. Who was the best division in the NFC this year? That honor, of course, goes to the NFC West. Congratulations to the NFC West. Another potential candidate for this was the NFC North, but because they had all winning records. But the issue with the North was that the Bears, I think, finished 11-6, and the Packers barely got in the playoffs. They set two playoff teams, but I think the West just overall is just the best division. I mean, when two of your teams are fighting for the number one seed in the last game of the season, and two of those teams weren't the Rams, the team that everyone picked to go to win the Super Bowl, who's also good in your division, yeah, you definitely win the division. You definitely win the award for best division for sure. You got the number one seed, two playoff teams, three playoff teams that people kind of don't want to play. And the Cardinals are just sitting at the bottom. They fired Jonathan Gannon. They're done. But based on the Seahawks, Rams, and Niners, this has been the best division in the NFC. Going on to the best division in the AFC. The AFC South. Yes, I gave this to the AFC South because if you really look at the other divisions, there really wasn't anything there, really. The AFC North, was the AFC North, the AFC East had the Patriots and the Bills, but then they also had the Jets and the Dolphins. Those two teams are just awful. I know the Dolphins went on a tear, but they're still awful. The West had the Broncos and the Chargers, but they also had the Chiefs, who fell off this year heavy, and the Raiders, who you will see later on in the video for sure. But yeah, those two teams were also there. And then the last division, which was the North, it had the last game of the season would decide the division, and everybody else in there was just mid or trash. So by default, the division that won, which shocked me because I didn't think this division would be that good in the beginning of the year, was the AFC South. They have the Jacksonville Jaguars, which are the scariest team right now. The Texans, number one defense. The Colts, who started off hot, but they kind of just crashed down to earth. Now injuries did have a lot to deal with that. And you have the Titans, who have sucked with the majority of the year, but, showed flashes at the end. But the AFC South is the best division in the AFC this year. The NFC best team, this was a team. I picked somebody that was good all year. not somebody that was good at the end of the year, not somebody that was good at the beginning of the year but teetered off. And my choice for this is the Seattle Seahawks. They Most of the year they've either destroyed teams or just beaten teams, closed games. Um, there really haven't been a lot of games this year where the Seahawks look just total shit. They did have that game against the Rams. Sam Darnold threw 4 interceptions, but that defense is no joke, and that's why they get the best team in the NFC this season. And again, this season's wacky as hell. Who would have thought the Seahawks would be the best team in the NFC in 2025? Not one person. I don't even think Seattle Seahawks fans thought this season would be this good. But they are the best team in the NFC for sure. Over in the AFC, this was a tie between two teams, and the second team is not who you're thinking, and I will talk about them later. But at the end of the day, I decided to give it to this one, and I'll talk about that soon when I review it. Yes, my best team in the AFC this year is the Jacksonville Jaguars. Now, I did say that the team needed to be complete throughout the whole season, put a complete body of work throughout the whole season. But if you really look at the Denver Broncos, who are the 1 seed, a lot of these games were comeback games, come from behind games, and some of these games they look kind of suspect. But then I looked back at Jacksonville, because Jacksonville in the last 8 games of the season has been literally putting belt to ass on teams. And then I looked back at their previous 9 games and saw that they were beating teams pretty handily. They only had like 1 or 2 bad games all year, really, where it's like, oh my god, what the fuck. But I have Jacksonville edging out the Denver Broncos for this spot. And you might be asking, where are the New England Patriots? When you have the second easiest schedule since the merger happened in your regular season, and when you struggled against any team that gave you just a difficult, competitive game, and when you go 1-2 against teams with a winning record, technically the Ravens have a winning record now. So, oh no, they went 9-8. When you barely beat good teams in your schedule run and it give you like a tough fight, like you lost to the Bills. The only two teams you beat are the Ravens and the who else? The Bills. You have a losing record against winning teams this season. You don't deserve this award. The Jaguars deserve this award because they have shown that they can beat. Honestly, it was the Jaguars when they beat the hell out of Denver. When they destroyed Denver, that's when I'm like, okay, this is the best team for sure. Now it's time for the worst team in the NFC. This is the team that people turn off the games for. This is the team that people just like didn't even want to watch. I'm giving this award to the New York Giants for being the worst team in the NFC because even though they had some crazy streak, like they beat the Chargers and the Eagles, but then they started losing more games. They choked the lead against the Saints, but this could have also been the Cardinals, but the Cardinals had a lot of more close games than the Giants did, and the Cardinals even down the stretch beat the fucking Cowboys on the road. So it was between them and the Giants, and I ended up picking the Giants because it just looked bad, man. Also, the NFC this year wasn't that like trash compared to years past. Like they only had like 2 teams, Giants and the Cardinals, with under 5 wins. Every other team, I think the Saints had like 6 wins. Like the NFC did pretty good this year, all things considered. So the Giants get the worst team. This award had a lot of competition, though. The worst team in the AFC, oh yes, this award had a crazy amounts of competition right here. Because all the dog shit teams this season came out the AFC. And but the worst team out of the worst, like, and there were like three or four to pick from, but the worst one out of the worst has to be the Oakland Raiders. The Oakland Raiders all year played uninspiring football. I mean, it got to a point the Eagles beat them 31-0 at one point. That was like the second fastest game ever to be completed in like the merger, I think. Crazy stuff. Like, the Raiders clearly are the worst team. They fired Pete Carroll. It's time to get an overhaul. I fear for Mendoza's life because he's going to be probably the first pick and he's going to have to be the quarterback. And if they don't get the right head coach or the right offensive line, he's just going to become another Cam Ward. Speaking of which, the Titans are also in competition for this, and so were the Jets. The Jets not getting a single interception. This is how crazy the season is. The Jets not getting a single interception all year. As a defense, not one in 17 games, allowing quarterbacks to put up a Hall of Fame MVP season every week. Didn't make the list of the worst team. That's how bad the Raiders were this season. And that's how crazy the season was. Raiders, you need to do like soul searching times 3. Like go freaking sit in the darkness like Aaron Rodgers or something. This is the best surprise team in the NFL. By what I mean best surprise team in the NFL, I mean which team genuinely was so surprised, like, oh my God, they are way better than we thought they were this year. And there's only one real, like, there could be two, but there was only really one. I'm giving it to the Patriots. Yes, it was that schedule cookie cutter. Yes, it was the easiest schedule, like, ever, basically. But one thing I will give the Patriots is when they did play bad teams, 95% of the time, they beat the fuck out of those bad teams. Like, they literally destroyed them. So they're good at destroying the bad teams. They had 14-3. Could have gotten the 1 seed had Denver lost the game. Really impressive season despite the easy schedule. And no one thought the Patriots would be 14-3. I saw them as like maybe like a 7-10, maybe like a 9-8 team. But no one thought this rise was crazy. So they're getting the award. And the worst surprise team in the NFL, the team that was the biggest letdown, the team that just like shocked us all as how bad they were. This could have gone to 2 teams, honestly, now that I'm thinking about it. But I picked this one. I picked the Chiefs here. I think the Chiefs let a lot of people down and surprised a lot of people. I predicted the Chiefs to take a step back after their 3-peat. And I think I put them at 9 wins, maybe 10 wins in my preseason prediction video. But the fact that they just bottomed out, they didn't even make the playoffs, went 6-11, have the 9th pick in the draft. Yeah, the Kansas City Chiefs are the biggest disappointment. Number 2 would have been the Redskins, the Commanders, because they also had a season. I don't think anybody was expecting them to just be 5-12. Like, I think people were expecting to win at least 10 games. I know I was too, but I ended up giving it to the Chiefs because, you know, when you have Patrick Mahomes, Travis Swift's last year in the NFL, and Spagnuolo in that defense, you don't think that's going to result in 6 wins. And I know Patrick Mahomes freaking tore his Achilles, and that's why they lost the last 3 games. But come on, man. They were going downhill before that happened anyways. So they're the winner of this. Now, my winner for who is the best quarterback in the NFL this season. This was only a race between 2 people. And honestly, it's not even a race at all, in my opinion. Matthew Stafford is my MVP. He's the best quarterback. He threw 46 touchdowns, 4,700 yards. He played tougher opponents. Yes, Drake May slurpers. He played more tougher opponents. Okay? He didn't get to face the school of the deaf and the blind every other week. He actually had to go through his division and had a couple tough matchups. Now, yes, he played some games that were awful, like the freaking game against the Panthers and the game against the Falcons. But overall, he put up an MVP style season, and I will give it to him over Drake May 120 times out of 10. Who was the best receiver? I don't think this is even a contest. I mean, it could be a contest a little bit, but come on, we already know who it is. Jackson Smith and Jigba is your best receiver in the NFL. This dude was doing crazy shit all season. The other pick could have been Puka Nacua. And again, it just leads credence as to why the NFC West is the best division in football. It is the best division in football just this year, period. Maybe one of the best divisions of all time, possibly. But he has been going crazy ever since they traded Metcalf away. This dude has gotten a breakout year, and Sam Darnold is going to employ the Jackson Smith and Jigba's down there somewhere strategy at some point in the playoffs. He's going to throw it out there, and he's going to make a catch. He's been the best receiver for sure. Who is the best running back now? This one was a little bit tough. I had 3 finalists realistically. But I ended up picking Christian McCaffrey. The reason why Christian McCaffrey gets my award for the best running back is because of his overall scrimmage yards. Like, he rushed for 1,200, I think. But then he had 800 yards receiving with 7 touchdowns receiving. The second running back I was going to potentially give this to was Bijan Robinson, because he also had the rushing numbers and the receiving numbers. Derrick Henry did get a lot more rushing yards, and so did Jonathan Taylor, but those guys didn't get the scrimmage yards. And then I ended up picking McCaffrey because he has had the most impact on his team winning. If you remove Christian McCaffrey from the 49ers probably end up 6-11 like they did last year. But because he was on that team, he changed everything. And to me, he's the best running back this year. All right, these are some interesting new awards from me. Starting with the Comeback Kings Award. Who were the Comeback Kings all season? Who were down and out and then somehow won the game? I think this should be pretty obvious to everybody. It's the Denver Broncos. I mean, these guys, how many games were they down 20 points in the fourth and come back and win somehow? They do have bullshit anime luck on their side this year, like quite literally. And they came back, I think it's 8 games this season. They come back in the fourth quarter. It's ridiculous. I mean, this team is just, I don't know how to describe that. Like, is that a good thing? Is that a bad thing? Like, I don't even know. But they are definitely the Comeback Kings. The best conference overall, it's the NFC. Like I said, there's only been 2 trash, really just bottom tier awful NFC teams. The NFC North had all winning records. The NFC East was the middle, the pack mid. The West had 3 playoff teams. In the South, 3 teams finished 8 and 9, and I think the Saints finished 6 and 10. So definitely more competitive, and I think a way higher winning percentage than any AFC teams on the other side. So yeah, I'm picking the NFC as the stronger conference. And now, these are more like playoff awards, heading into the playoff awards. Who is the fraud watch alert? Who are you watching out for to just bet against that's going to let you down? This should be very obvious. The New England Patriots are the biggest fraud check alert probably in the history of the playoffs. I mean, there are a couple teams where you could say that to, teams that got the 1 or 2 seed that have negative point differentials, like the Vikings a couple years back were on fraud alert. But man, the Mickey Mouse run this team has had this season, they are on omega fraud watch. Quite literally every single time a competent team that was a playoff team played them, unless I think it was a foul. I think they beat up the Panthers pretty good, but they just have struggled. I mean, they're going to struggle in the playoffs, and they're going to get their ass kicked eventually. It's just a matter of time. And who knows? The Chargers might still find a way to beat them in the wild card round. But they are on Omega fraud watch for sure. And the smoking hot award, this goes to the team heading into the playoffs that is the hottest team right now in the NFL. And there's only one pick for this. It's the Jacksonville Jaguars. I mean, they have literally, not figuratively, actually put belt to ass on every team they faced the last 8 weeks. Trevor Lawrence has looked like the prince that was promised that long ago. That defense is clicking and firing. The best part, they're getting zero production from Travis Hunter, the second overall pick in the draft, because he's hurt. They're on a run right now, and they're going to be a tough team to stop. I wouldn't even be surprised if this team goes all the way to the Super Bowl and potentially wins that shit. They have been destroying teams. It doesn't matter who the fuck you are. You could be the third pick in the draft next year. You could be a Super Bowl favorite first seed. They will beat the fuck out of you. I wouldn't be surprised. This team is definitely the hottest, and no one in that AFC bracket, and I mean no one, wants to face the Jacksonville Jaguars. In no way. In the game of the year, for me, this was a tie between the Ravens-Steelers game that I watched, that I'm glad I stayed up for, or the Seahawks and Rams game from Thursday night, and I'm picking the Thursday night game overall because it meant more, in my opinion, than the Ravens-Steelers game, because the Ravens-Steelers game decided who was going to go into the playoffs, but basically what the Ravens-Steelers game really decided was who was going to get bounced out in the first round of the playoffs. This game had one seed implications on it in Week 16, and like it was an overtime comeback classic. This is definitely the game of the year, in my opinion. And Steelers-Ravens was close, but the stakes, I think, were much higher here for two teams that people picked to realistically win the Super Bowl. So those are my awards. This is a thing I wanted to start this year. Maybe I keep it going every single year. Let me know in the comments if you disagree or agree with me on these picks. As always, as you know, Eagles will win the Super Bowl regardless. This has been your favorite delusional Eagles fan that will tell you they're going to win every year. Sorry, no.